Illustrator has a unique tool for blending objects together. You will find this tool here in the toolbar, and you can also use the shortcut W to get to it. Once you have it selected, all you have to do is to click on an object which you wish to use for your blend, and then another object which you want to blend it into. And you can already see that we have a blend created here, but we could continue this by adding another point. So now we have 3 objects blended into one. The cool thing about the blend tool is that it keeps the original objects available, so you can select any of these squares in this case and start moving them around. Now you can see how my blend is updating based on what I do. You can very quickly create almost 3D effects if you are using the right type of shapes and colors. And of course you can amend your shape's size or color even while they are part of a blend. So in this case we were using the same shape to create the blend, but let's see what happens when we use the blend tool between different shapes. So not only the color, but even the shape will be different. So first, second, and third. At the moment, it doesn't look very different, but what actually happens is that Illustrator creates all those transitions that it needs in between each of these shapes. And if you want to have a better look at them, you can double click on the blend tool while having your blend selected. That way you get to the options, and having the preview on and changing the spacing, you can get to, for example, specified steps, where typing in 5 will reveal what is actually happening in the background. Maybe I reduce it down to 3 to make it even easier to see it. And now we can see that it's almost like a mutation from one shape to another and then again to another. It creates these in-between stages. So not only the color but even the shape is shifting. You can imagine that this can be used for all kinds of different creative techniques as well. But let me show you even further what you can do with this tool. Even a simple line and another line, completely random, can be connected with the blend tool. If I click on the first one, then the next one, it creates a very interesting mesh, but at the moment it's a little bit strange, it's twisted. What you normally need to do in these cases, if it happens, is to select one of the lines that you created and then just simply turn it around. So instead of being that way, I turn it upside down. And then immediately the whole mesh looks much better. Once again, when I have it selected and I double click on the mesh tool, I can change it from smooth color to specified steps, and I can increase the value, which will add even more lines, or I can reduce that value. I'm just using shift down and up arrows until I decide I like it. So for example, if I want to make it less, I can then decide to have one of these lines maybe thicker than the other one. So if I set this to 2 points or 3 or 4, you can even have a transition in the width of these lines. I just go back a few steps and I show you that it is again very true that once you start combining tools, it gets even more interesting. You might remember the tool called Warp tool, which you find under the distortion tools. With this, you can start pushing lines around, and you can create these very interesting shapes, almost like waves in your design. So it's almost like a 3D abstract art. And just like every other advanced feature, the blend needs to be expanded from the object menu if you wish to select the individual lines that were created in between the 2 original ones. So if I choose expand and click OK, then all of these lines will be individually selectable. So I can select a few maybe and delete them, and so on and so forth. So it is worth playing around with this feature because you can come up with so many creative ways of using it. But when you are ready, you can move on to the next video where we are going to design patterns.